Well, let's cross now to our editor-at-large, Craig Copetas, for more on this story. Hello there, Craig. Now, much of the focus of this story has been the geopolitical risks and rewards. But what about the economic impact? We've seen the share prices collapse on the Qatar stock market. Of course, there's been an implication for oil and for Qatar Air. Talk us through it.
Well, this is a big boom on Qatar. It's immediate. It's very difficult to see how the political scene is going to play out, but the economic play out here we can look at and judge, I think, somewhat accurately. First of all, Turkey's involvement here is quite important because there's this organization called the Turkey-Qatar High Strategic Committee. It's a military organization, but it's basically rooted in economic ties between Turkey and Qatar. Turkey does $15 billion a year of business with Qatar. Qatar also backstops Turkey whenever it has a shortfall in natural gas. So being locked out of Qatar for Turkey is not good, and the government in Turkey saying that they want to mediate this makes economic sense. Now, at the same time, you have this $35 billion Qatari investment fund, and you got to wonder what's going to happen to that. They own huge stakes in banks like Barclays, PLC, Credit Suisse, and a lot of other companies. Also in Qatar, you have the U.S. CENTCOM military central command in the Middle East. You got to wonder what's going to happen with that. And then you really have to look at the United States here as well, because Qatar has promised to invest $35 billion in the U.S., and they're also in the process of opening a bureau, a branch of the country's sovereign wealth fund in Silicon Valley. And you got to think that's got to be on hold right now. So these are very, very serious takeaways from what happened today in the region.
So big questions then for trade deals, for cooperation on an international scale. Let's talk about Qatar's economy and how stable it is. I mean, is there one sector that's going to feel the pain more than others?
Food. Bet on it. Food. We might be looking at a Berlin-type airlift of food into Qatar because some 40%, if not more, of their foodstuffs come across the Saudi border. That's a problem. You also have another issue here, the 2022 World Cup. What's going to happen with that? And finally on this thing, you know, Moody's Investor Service just cut Qatar's credit rating. Now, although that's always suspicious when that kind of thing happens, the reason Moody's cut it was an uncertainty over its economic growth model. That's Moody's speak for Qatar. You're dealing with terrorists, and we don't like that, and we're going to downgrade you. That's what I'm being told by people on Wall Street this morning. Qatar is in a mess right now.
Qatar in a mess. Well, Craig Copetas, thank you for your analysis.